Thursday, April 17th, 2025. Welcome to this special deep dive from SamvaadX. I'm Raj Patel.
And I'm Priya Shah.
Today, we're digging into the BluSmart EV situation. You've probably seen the news. BluSmart suddenly stopping their ride-hailing services. We're going to unpack what happened, why it matters, especially to users, and what the immediate fallout looks like.
It was really abrupt, wasn't it? Around April 16th, maybe the 17th. If you were trying to book a BluSmart in Delhi NCR or Bengaluru, Mumbai, well, the app just showed 0 rides available. Nothing.
Right. 1 minute it's working, the next, gone. And it wasn't just some, temporary app glitch.
No, definitely not. Users started getting emails, didn't they? Something about a temporary closure of bookings.
Exactly. That word temporary might sound hopeful, but when you look at the bigger picture emerging, it feels like more than just a pause.
Well, and it's interesting because BluSmart before this actually had a pretty solid reputation.
They really did. Many people seem to prefer them over, say, Ola or Uber.
Yeah, you'd hear about the reliability, the cars being clean, and obviously the whole sustainability angle with the EVs.
And the big one, 0 driver cancellations. That was a huge selling point for many users frustrated with other apps.
Totally. Plus, the EVs themselves were generally kept in good shape. They had a big fleet, too, didn't they?
They were at 8,000 EVs, yeah. And they'd covered something like 650 million clean kilometers. Massive numbers.
At their peak, back in 2023, weren't they doing something like 25,000, maybe 30,000 rides a day?
That's what reports suggested. So the big question everyone's asking is, how did a service like that with that kind of reputation and scale just stop so suddenly?
Well, if you peel back the layers, it looks like the positive user experience wasn't quite matched by financial health.
Ah, the money side.
Yeah. Reports started surfacing that the company was losing a lot, like over 20 crore every single month.
Wow, 20 crore a month. That's unsustainable.
Right. And on top of that, they apparently tried to raise more funding recently, about $50 million USD. And that attempt failed. So, the financial pressure was already building even before this sudden stop we saw.
Okay, so money troubles were already there.
Yeah.
But what was the actual trigger? The thing that made them hit the brakes so hard?
It seems the tipping point was intervention from SEBI. That's the Securities and Exchange Board of India, the market regulator.
Right. What did SEBI do?
They launched an investigation, but not directly into BluSmart initially, but into a company called Gensol Engineering.
Gensol Engineering. Why them?
Because Gensol was BluSmart's key financial backer and their EV leasing partner. Critically important.
Okay, so a major partner.
And here's the crucial link. Gensol Engineering is promoted by the very same people who co-founded BluSmart, Anmal Singh Jaggi and Puneet Singh Jaggi.
Ah, so the founders are involved in both companies. That complicates things.
Immensely. And this connection is really at the heart of why users suddenly couldn't book a ride. SEBI issued an interim order around April 15th. And the language used was, pretty stark. They talked about a complete breakdown of corporate governance at Gensol.
A complete breakdown? That sounds serious.
It is. The allegations involve a massive fund diversion. We're talking about 262 crore.
262 crore? That's a huge amount. Where was that money supposed to go?
It was reportedly meant for buying more electric vehicles funded by loans from public sector lenders like IRETA and PFC.
Okay, so loans taken specifically for EVs. But SEBI is alleging it was diverted. Where did it supposedly go?
This is where it gets quite concerning. According to SEBI's interim findings, the funds were allegedly misused for personal luxury spending by the promoters.
Personal spending? Like what?
Well, the order mentions things like a 43 crore apartment in Gurugram, DLF Camellias, I think.
43 crore on an apartment.
And get this, a 26 lakh golf set.
A golf set? Seriously?
Also, transfers to family members, investments in totally unrelated businesses. They even mention Ashner Grover's third unicorn.
Wow. That paints a pretty damaging picture. Did SEBI take action against the founders themselves?
They did. Based on this interim order, SEBI barred both Jaggi brothers from the securities market.
Meaning they can't trade stocks or anything.
Right. And also barred them from holding key positions in any listed company. It's a major regulatory slapdown.
And what about inside BluSmart itself? Any fallout there?
Well, alongside this, we've seen reports that key leadership figures at BluSmart, the CEO, the CTO, the CBO, have apparently resigned.
So the top brass is leaving amid this crisis. It really sounds like SEBI's findings about Gensol and the founder's role are at the core of this whole shutdown.
Absolutely. SEBI didn't mince words. They described Gensol's funds as basically being treated like the promoter's piggy bank.
A piggy bank. Ouch.
Now, it's important to remember these are findings in an interim order. Gensol says they'll cooperate with the full investigation.
Okay, due process and all that.
Right. But the evidence SEBI presented seems pretty substantial, suggesting, major governance failures.
Okay, let's pivot to the users. Because many people use BluSmart's wallet system, right? Putting money in up front.
Yes, exactly. The prepaid wallet. And now, with the service halted, a lot of users have money just stuck in their BluSmart accounts.
What's BluSmart saying about that? Are people getting their money back?
They sent out those emails we mentioned earlier. They said they'll initiate refunds within 90 days.
90 days. 3 months.
If services don't resume before then. So, yeah, potentially quite a long wait, and that if is doing a lot of work there.
That's going to worry a lot of people. Is there anything users can do right now to try and get it back sooner?
You can try going through the app's help section, find Blue Wallet, state the issue, and contact support. That's the official channel.
But is it working?
We're already hearing reports of users finding it difficult. Slow responses, maybe unclear answers about the actual refund process. It seems challenging.
So legally, does BluSmart have to refund the money even if their terms and conditions say something about non-refundable balances?
Generally, yes. From a legal perspective, even with those clauses, if a service permanently stops operating, the company is almost certainly obligated to refund unused balances. It's money paid for a service they can no longer provide.
Okay, that's some reassurance. And if they don't refund within that 90 days or refuse?
Then consumers have options. They can pursue claims through consumer protection forums. It's a route available if the company doesn't make things right monetarily. Definitely something for users to keep in their back pocket.
Good to know. So just to confirm, as of today, April 18th, 2025, absolutely no BluSmart cabs available for booking anywhere.
That seems to be the case. Delhi NCR, Bengaluru, Mumbai, all booking options appear completely suspended. The service is effectively offline.
So looking ahead,
Yeah.
what's the likely future for BluSmart? It doesn't sound like they're coming back as the ride-hailing service users knew.
All the signs point towards an exit from that direct-to-consumer business. It looks like they're trying to pivot.
Pivot to what?
To becoming a fleet partner for Uber, essentially supplying their EVs and maybe drivers to operate under the Uber umbrella.
Interesting. So the cars might still be on the road, just not as BluSmart.
Exactly. There are reports that shareholders have already approved transferring an initial batch, maybe 700 or 800 EVs, to Uber's platform.
Yeah.
And people are apparently already seeing BluSmart cars in Bengaluru being rebranded with Uber green logos.
So the BluSmart ride-hailing experience is likely over for users. The assets are shifting.
It certainly looks that way.
And the wallet money. Just reiterate the timeline.
The company line is refunds initiated within 90 days if their own service doesn't restart. But, as we said, users might need to be proactive, follow up, maybe even push a bit via customer support or consumer forums if needed.
Okay. And meanwhile, the SEBI investigation continues in the background.
Yes, that probe into Gensol and the promoters is ongoing. There could definitely be more developments and potentially further consequences down the line.
All right, so just to wrap this up for everyone listening, It appears BluSmart's ride-hailing service collapsed, mainly because of these really serious allegations of financial irregularities involving its founders at Gensol, their partner company.
That triggered the regulatory action from SEBI, seemed to shatter confidence, and it all landed on top of pre-existing financial difficulties.
And now the company is trying to transition its fleet into a partnership with Uber, effectively ending the BluSmart brand as a ride service people could book directly.
That's the situation as we understand it now. It's a pretty dramatic fall.
It really is. It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As this investigation unfolds and BluSmart potentially changes its entire business model, what does this tell us about the vulnerability of EV startups, maybe? And just how crucial good corporate governance is, especially in these fast-moving sectors like transport tech.
Absolutely critical questions. A stark reminder, really.
See you tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe to SamvaadX News Podcast channel and hit that bell icon.